Once again, welcome back to Pembrey. It's Thundersport GB, and our next action on track, the Motorbike Accident Law Formula 600. Saw a great race from them earlier on, real head-to-head there between Ben Field and Craig Sproston. But what a good chase through the pack after an early mistake, Steve, by Chris Mort. He, well, whether it was red mist or whatever, but he really did race hard for the third place, didn't he?
He did, yes. After running wide into Hatchets, he managed to pull back some points, but we're ready to go. A good start there from Craig Sproston. Adam Oliver looked like he got away from the line well. Richard McNeil's done okay, and he is going to get the whole shot.
I tell you what, Tom McHale not too shabby either. He's up there in 5th place, just behind Adam Oliver. So it's a second good start from Tom McHale. In fact, he moves up into 4th there. But we've been used to all season, Steve, seeing Richard McNeil get away well at the start of things. He didn't in the early race, but, well, in this one, he just got down to 2nd. Ben Field tries around the outside of the clubhouse. I think Ben Field will have got up into the lead.
Yes, with Richard McNeil, number 22, in 2nd at the moment, finishing 5th in race 1. That now means that Ben's lead in the championship before the start of this race was 26 points, and that's the largest we've seen it for a couple of rounds. And it might not sound a lot, that's because it's not, but in the context of this championship, it's a rather large lead. There is number 12, Paul Martin, who we saw take a tumble in race 1.
Yes, the bike looks a little bit battered, but good to see him back out there. There's Chris Mort, and settling down to it again. He knows he's got a lot of work to do. Picked up that good finish earlier, but he'll be pushing really hard in this race as Richie McNeil just reasserts himself in 2nd place there. Craig Sproston looking to nick 2nd off him, couldn't quite do it that time.
No, Chris Mort made his way past Tom McHale there. He got in the slipstream. Tom McHale making the fatal mistake of looking over your shoulder. We don't need to tell riders that that's not really a very good idea. It just doesn't work. But at the front, it's Ben Field. 2nd position, Richard McNeil, and then Craig Sproston, who's still without a victory so far this year. Could this be his race?
Yeah, it absolutely could. Look at Richard McNeil running very hot into Brooklands there, and consequently a wide exit, and he's on the giddy limit now, just trying to get on the power and stay ahead of Craig Sproston. So he goes from attack to defence, and now, as he comes along, Woodland's back into attack again, down into Honda, but Ben Field still leads it.
Yes, Richard McNeil really pushing as hard as he can. He's putting everything into this race to try and keep with Ben Field. And he's got the inside line and will take the lead into Hatchets as we clock off another lap. Oh, and Ben Field, that just goes to show you that the different lines into Hatchets might not result in what you might think on the exit as they go into Spitfire. So it's Ben Field, number 14, that leads. McNeil 2nd, Craig Sproston hanging on in there in 3rd, and then it's a big gap back to 4th.
Yeah, it's fantastic stuff up the front, isn't it? They're all absolutely on the edge of this. They're teetering on the brink of adhesion, particularly down there on the Exeter Hatchets, where it's so easy for things to go really silly.
Dan Shaler there just trying to keep up with Callum O'Shea. That's about off the 7th and 8th.
Oh, back at the front, look at this, Richard McNeil. Good exit there, carrying the speed once again down into Honda. Field just ahead of him as they run to the line, and Craig Sproston, after that brilliant 2nd earlier on, we were wondering then whether it would be his first race victory in the series. Well, we're doing so again. He's perfectly poised, but can't find a way through Richard McNeil yet.
No, number 22, Richard McNeil, has shown us this year that he can ride in all conditions, and particularly in the wet. Nobody can match his pace, but he's pretty quick in the dry too. There's number 96, Callum O'Shea again, with Dan Shaler, number 76, just behind.
And the pace really hot at the front. They're not far from lap record country, and Ben Field pushing very hard indeed at the front, trying to make a break. But there's a certain stubbornness behind him. These two determined not to let him go.
No, well, the pair of them are battling away, and it's giving Ben Field a decent chance. Craig Sproston, you've got to get that stopped at the end of the start-finish straight, and he does. He is in 2nd position ahead of McNeil now.
Beautifully done, left leg kicking away, and again, his dog could see the rabbit time. Craig Sproston now is where he wants to be. He's got ahead of Richie McNeil. He'll feel that he can hold Richie behind him, and it's just a question of whirling the old rod above his head and seeing if he can reel in the leader. And there, Chris Mort. Well, Chris, I'm sure it's a frustrating day for him, Steve. He ought to be on the pace of the guys at the front. He can certainly turn in the lap times. He's just not quite going for him here in Southwest Wales.
No, at all. He had a fantastic round at Anglesey where he completely cleaned up, but then after we left Northwest Wales, he had a disastrous round at Snetterton and not particularly brilliant at Cadwell Park, so he's just fallen off the pace a little bit, but I don't think it'll be long before we see him making up ground again, although it does look as though he's going to have to give up on his title dreams for 2011. Anything can happen, though, in motorbike racing. Yeah. It usually does.
It really happened there to Ben Field. Suddenly got very bumpy there as he settled himself on the brakes on the run in behind the clubhouse. But just stretching it again at the front. Craig Sproston working hard in second place. They're sort of trading fastest laps, lap for lap at the moment. But, the gap remaining relatively, yeah, it is pretty constant now as Benfield comes down to complete another lap.
Yes, Richard McNeil has just fallen a little bit further behind Craig Sproston now, and you wonder whether it's that thumb injury coming to repeat itself on him. He, of course, has struggled earlier on in the season with arm pump also. It's a long old way, 15 laps around here, so it's a long race, and maybe fatigue's come into it, but Richard McNeil certainly looks like he's settling for third position now.
A young man from King's Heath in Birmingham at the front, and Chris Mort, that's a mechanical. What a shame for Chris. Oh, goodness me, the machinery lets him down, and that is very disconsolate body language indeed. Has to take that back to the pit. And the exact opposite there, Steve. Look at that little bundle of confidence. Benfield into Honda for the last time.
Yes, he's going to extend his lead to something around about 35 points, if my maths are correct, and that's a nice, comfortable advantage to take into Brands Hatch. It's been a perfect day here and a perfect weekend for Benfield.
Yeah, checker flag being given some air there. And they've even got a repeater checker flag, which is always a good thing. I think riders in the midst of battle can miss the flag. But Benfield, yes, he'll be humming Lou Reed. It certainly is a perfect day for him. Takes an excellent win from Craig Sproston, Richard McNeil, Tom McHale, Adam Oliver and Simon Critchlow. And on the podium, Benfield in the middle, Craig Sproston, Richard McNeil. Craig Sproston took the fastest lap in the end. And there the standings, Benfield with that lead. It's not a massive lead, but it's a few points advantage over Richie McNeil and Craig Sproston.
MAL Formula 600, third place man, Northern Irish, Richard McNeil. Tell us a bit about your race.
Had a good 15-lap race. Really enjoyed it. At least the weather held up. I did have a couple of problems setting up the bike. Found it hard getting the gearing right, but my dad and Jordan Burrows done a good job to get it right, and went from my SC2, which is a medium compound rear tyre, to soft, and it was far quicker, and at least I got into the 59s, which I was happy with. That's what I wanted all weekend, so yeah, I'm glad I've done it.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad you had a good race to end with at Pembrey. Who would you like to thank?
Most of all, I would like to thank my dad and Jordan Burrows. They really do make up for it, a good weekend. It takes a lot of time to come over to England from Northern Ireland. My sponsors as well, they all know who they are, and I've got a website, mcneilracing.com. They can all be found there as well.
Well done, very well done, that's good.
All right, thanks.